All right, today we're jumping into a really cool fable. It's one of those timeless stories, you know? It's all about that classic tug of war between jumping into action versus taking a moment to just observe. And honestly, this lesson feels like it was written for right now, exploring what really happens when we pick speed over stillness or maybe confidence over actual understanding.
Okay, so let's start with this quote right here. Opportunities don't wait. This is pretty much the entire worldview of our first character. And it's a philosophy a lot of us can probably relate to, right? The whole idea that if you hesitate, you lose. The world belongs to the go-getters, the ones who act first. But is that really always the best way?
So in this forest, they're facing a pretty big problem. And right away, two totally different ways of thinking pop up. They come from two very different residents, and it perfectly sets the stage for this classic battle between, well, doing versus seeing.
First up, we've got Kiro. Now, Kiro is the fastest rabbit in the whole forest. But for him, being first, it wasn't just about, winning a race. It was about being important. And in his head, if you're important, you must be right. His confidence was just loud. And we all know how that goes, right? The loudest voice in the room is often the one people end up following.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have Kira the rabbit. He thinks hesitation is for the weak. You got to speak first, speak fast, speak loud. Then you've got Lena the cat. She believes you have to understand before you ever open your mouth. She's quiet, she notices everything. It's this perfect showdown of styles, and it's something that happens everywhere. Not just in this story. I mean, think about our jobs, our schools, even just inside our own heads.
So, of course, a real crisis hits the forest. And suddenly, this whole idea of act now, think later gets put to the test. A big one.
And this wasn't some small problem. The river that feeds their entire land is shrinking. We're talking about an existential threat here. No river means no survival through the winter. You can just feel the panic starting to bubble up as everyone realizes what's at stake.
And before anyone even has a second to really think about it, who jumps in? Kiro, of course. He cuts right through all that fear with this big, bold declaration, there's no time to think, we must act now. See what he did there? He made thinking sound like the enemy, like it's just getting in the way.
So, Kiro's plan is all about moving, clear new paths, build storage areas, and do it fast. And, maybe most importantly, just ignore anyone who has questions or doubts. For him, as long as they were doing something, they were winning. And that's such a tempting idea, isn't it? We confuse being busy with making progress. But yeah, his plan had zero room for actually, thinking or changing course.
But here's the thing. All that action, without any real awareness, that can be a recipe for disaster. And while everyone else is scrambling around following Kiro's lead, Lena, she's just watching. She's seeing the whole picture. And this is where you really see the difference between them. Kiro just saw one problem, the river shrinking. Simple. But Lena, she saw an entire system that was shifting. She's noticing little things, cracks near the riverbank, the clouds gathering a bit earlier every day, the soil getting weak right where they were building so fast. It's such a good reminder, isn't it? When we rush to solve something, we can totally miss the little clues that tell us what the real problem is. And Kiro's speed just made him blind to all of it.
And then, exactly what you'd expect to happen, happened. The storm arrived. It wasn't random. It was a direct result of ignoring all those warning signs. And the river, the very thing they were trying to save, just burst its banks. Instead of them managing it, it unleashed total chaos. All their rushing around just made things 100 times worse.
And boom, just like that, everything they built collapsed into mud. All that energy, all that action for the sake of action, gone, washed away in a second, because none of it was built on actually understanding the situation.
So, right in the middle of all this mess, a totally different kind of leadership steps up. It's not loud, it's not fast, it's calm, it's prepared.
While everyone else is panicking, Lena just calmly starts guiding them to higher ground. Why? Because she'd been watching all along. She'd already noticed where it was safe. And the other animals, they followed her. Not because she was shouting orders, but because they could feel her trust, her steadiness.
And this is the moment of truth for Kiro. He finally gets it. He says, I was wrong. I wanted to be first, not to understand. He realizes his whole focus was on the action, on being first, and it made him totally miss what was actually going on. His goal wasn't to solve the problem, it was just to be fast.
Okay, so this leads us to the big lesson here. The forest has to figure out a new and frankly a much better way to handle things.
So the forest learns to balance action with awareness, a voice with silence. And the big takeaway here is not that action is bad, not at all. It's that action is at its absolute best, its most powerful when it comes from a place of real observation and deep listening. It's all about finding that sweet spot, that balance.
And that brings us to the real heart of this whole story. What is true wisdom? Well, it's not about how loud you are or how fast you speak. It's about how deeply you listen. It's a total rethink, right? It moves wisdom away from that showy, loud confidence and puts it right where it belongs, in genuine understanding that you can only get by listening.
So this is the question we're left with, for all of us. Which voice do you listen to the most? That Kiro inside you, the one that's always ready to jump in and act? Or the Lena, the one that wants to sit back and understand first? In our jobs, our lives, our big decisions, which one do we lean on? And maybe, just maybe, it's time we all try to find a little more balance